मोरे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया करो मोरे तुम बिना के दयालु जगत संसारे तुम बिना के दयालु जगत संसारे पतित पावन हेतु तव अवतार पतित पावन हेतु तव अवतार मौसम पतित प्रभु न पाए हा प्रभु नित्यानंद प्रेमानंद सुखी हा प्रभु नित्यानंद प्रेमानंद सुखी कृपा बलोकन करो आमी मोर दुखी श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया करो मोरे तुम बिना के दयालु जगत संसारे दया करो सीतापति अद्वैत गोसाई दया करो सीतापति अद्वैत गोसाई तव कृपा भले पाए चैतन्य निताय तव कृपा भले पाए चैतन्य निताय गौरव प्रेमा मन्ये तनु पंडित गदाधारा श्रीनिवास हरिदास दोयार सागरा हा स्वरूप सनातना रूप रघुनाथा भट्ट जुग श्री जीव प्रभु लोकनाथा श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया करो मोरे तुम बिना के दयालु जगत संसारे दया करो श्री आचार्य प्रभु श्रीनिवासा रामचंद्र संघ मागे नरोत्तम दासा श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया करो मोरे तुम बिना के दयालु जगत संसारे हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु दया करो मोरे। थैंक यू माता जी सिंह प्रभु जी। हरे कृष्णा। हरि नाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्रीला प्रभुपाद की जय। श्री गदाधर पंडित की जय। हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी। अनिरुद्ध सेवा प्रभु जी हरे कृष्णा प्रणाम।
हरे कृष्णा हरे बोल।
हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी।
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Welcome to you on ICF forum, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you
Yes.
want me to share the screen or you will be doing it?
Yeah, you can share the screen, yes.
Hare Krishna.
So I'll start with the Kirtan, then. So, जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रजजन रंजन यमुना तीरवनचारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा कृष्णा हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे हरे जय राधा श्यामा सुंदर राधे जय राधा मुरलीधर राधे जय राधा रमण राधे जय राधा माधव राधे जय राधा विनोद राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेव जय सुभद्रा जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय कृष्ण बलराम जय वृंदावन धाम जय वृंदावन धाम जय वृंदावन धाम जय गौरनीता जय गौरनीता जय गौरनीता जय पंचतत्वा जय पंचतत्वा जय षड्गोस्वामी गण जय षड्गोस्वामी गण जय षड्गोस्वामी Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada, Jaya Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev. Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jam Shpat Param Supratikar Stotra Sada Samarthis Dengra Sabachar Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Maharaj ki jai Iskan Tamsak ka Shri Prabhupada Maharaj ki jai Jagat Guru Shri Prabhupada Maharaj ki jai Jam Shpat Param Supratikar Stotra Sada Samarthis Dengra Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj ki jai अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय अनंत कोटि आचार्य वृंद की जय हम आचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय प्रेम से जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ राधा गुण श्याम कुट गिरि गोवर्धन की जय वृंदावन मथुरा धाम की जय मायापुर नवदीप धाम की जय जगन्नाथपुरी द्वारका धाम की जय गंगे वैमन माय की जय तुलसी भक्ति देव की जय समवेत गौर भक्त वृंद की जय ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद ट्रांसलेट बुक डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन की जय All glories to assemble duties. All glories to assemble duties. All glories to assemble duties. All glories to all glories Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. So welcome devotees for today's Shrimad Bhagavatam session. Nityam Bhagavata Sevya. We are now today taking from 3rd canto, 23rd chapter, 24 to 30. So I'll start with my prayers. ओम अज्ञानातिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जना शलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकदा मह्यं ददाति सुपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेशा गोपिका कांता राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तकांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वांछा कल्पतरुष कृपा सिंधु व्यवच पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवसादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतस्य भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी. So I am audible, right?
Yes, Prabhu, very much.
Yes, Prabhu. Better
Yeah.
without video, Prabhu, so that your voice is
Yeah,
clear.
that's why I just switched off
Thank
the
you,
video. So maybe,
Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we are taking this shloka number 24. Sa tad bhartuhu samadaya vacha kuvalaya ekshana sarajam bhibrati vaso veni bhutamscha murdhajan sa tad bhartuhu samadaya vacha kuvalaya ekshana सरजम भिभ्रति वासो वेणीभूतांश मूर्धजा सा तद्भर्तु समादाय वचा कुवले क्षणा सरजम भिभ्रति वासो वेणीभूतांश मूर्धजान. वर्ड बाय वर्ड बनी ट्रांसलेशन purport by Srila Prabhupada की जय. Sa, she, tat, then, bhartuhu, of her husband, samadaya, accepting, vachaha, the words, kuvalaya ikshana, the lotus-eyed, sar, rajam, dirty, bhibrati, wearing, vasaha, clothing, veni bhutan, matted, cha, and, murdhajan, hair. Translation: the lotus-eyed Devhuti accepted the order of her husband because of her dirty dress and the locks of matted hair on her head. She did not look very attractive. It's a small purport. I'll just finish it off. It appears that Devati's hair had remained uncombed for many years and had become complicated in tangles. In other words, she neglected her bodily dress and comforts to engage in the service of her husband. Okay, so we'll go to the shloka number 25. I think very small, not many purports are there. We'll just cover it up in one shot. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, you want the participants
Yeah, devotee can read, whoever is there in the queue.
Hare Krishna. Ansuya Mataji, you can read the shloka. Sudha Mataji, you can read the translation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, pranams.
Correction, here we go. Yeah.
Angam chamala pankena
Malapan.
Sanchanam Shabalostanam Avivesha Saraswatyaha Sara Shiva Jalashayam. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandat Pranam.
Dandat Pranam, yeah.
Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Her body was coated with a thick layer of dirt and her breasts were discolored. She dove, however, into the lake which contained the sacred waters of the Saraswati. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Shanti Mataji, you can read the verse. Shanti Mataji, you can do the translation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Santa Sarasir Veshmasta Shatani Dashakanyaka Sarva Kishora Ravayaso Dardarshot Paralav. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. In a house inside the lake, she saw 1,000 girls, all in the prime of youth and fragrant like lotuses. Hare Krishna.
Divya Mataji, you can do the verse, and Padma Mataji, the translation and purport. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Pranam.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna. Yeah, Dandat Pranam.
Tam drishtva sahato sottaya prochuh pranjalaya priyah vayam karma karistubhyam shadina karavamakim. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Padma Mataji, you can do the translation and purport. Hare Krishna. Sindhu Mataji, you can do the translation and purport.
Yes, Mataji. May I read?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Hare Mataji, I think I was on mute. Shall I read?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Padma Mataji, you can go ahead.
Translation?
Okay, sorry, Mataji. Yeah. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Seeing her, the damsel suddenly rose and said with folded hands, "We are your maidservants. Tell us what we can do for you." Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Sindhu Mataji, you can do the purport. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Pranam Swati. Text 27, purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Yeah.
While Devahuti was thinking of what to do in that great palace in her dirty clothes, they were at once, by the yogic powers of Kardama Muni, 1,000 maid servants prepared to serve her. They appeared before Devahuti within the water and presented themselves as her maid servants, simply awaiting her orders. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna.
Vasudha Mataji, you can do the verse and
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Mataji. Dandavat Pranam.
Yes.
Snane tam maharhena snapayitva manasvinim dukhule nirmale nutne dadur asyai cha manadha. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Shobha Mataji, you can do the translation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Mataji, you told me, Mataji.
Shobha Mataji, yes.
Shobha.
Hare Krishna, Mataji and Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Translation by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The girls, being very respectful to Devahuti, brought her forth, and after bathing her with valuable oils and ointments, they gave her fine new spotless cloth cover her body. Haribol. Thank you, Prabhu.
Krishnamurti Prabhuji, you can do the shloka, and Karpala Vali Pratik Prabhuji, you can do the translation and purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pranams
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Bhushanani paradhyani variyamsi jumanti cha annam sarva gunopetam panam chaivamruta savam. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Bol. Yes.
Sharmila Mataji, you can do the translation and purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Yeah.
They then decorated her with very excellent and valuable jewels, which shone brightly. Next, they offered her food containing all good qualities and a sweet, inebriating drink called Asavam. Purport. Asavam is an Ayurvedic medical preparation. It is not a liquor. It is especially made from drugs and is meant to improve metabolism for the healthy condition of the body. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Suma Mataji, you can do the verse. I will do the translation. Hare Krishna.
This is the last, right? 30th.
Yes, Prabhuji, last. Suma Mataji, please do the verse. Okay, I will do it. Hare Krishna. Atha darshe swamatmanam stravidnivanam virajam daram virajam krutaswastyanam kanyabhir bahumanitam. Now, Kishori Mataji, you can do the translation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Pranam.
Hare Bol.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Then in a mirror she beheld her own reflection. Her body was completely free from all dirt and she
You're not audible, Mataji.
Hare Bol, it's breaking.
Yeah, I think Mataji's connectivity has an issue. I'll just quickly read it. Then in a mirror, she beheld her own reflection. Her body was completely freed from all dirt, and she was adorned with a garland, dressed in unsullied robes and decorated with auspicious marks of tilak. She was served very respectfully by the maids. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Om Agnantimrandasya Gnananjana Shalaka Chakshuntamena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Yeah, so we are in this chapter, 23rd chapter, which is actually titled Dehoti's Lamentation. So we'll come to understand why that lamentation happens, why it happened. Actually, after the previous chapter, we understood how Kardama Muni and Devati, had their marriage ceremony that was being celebrated. And all that was ordained by the Lord. Lord himself had come and he had predicted to Kardama that Manu, Swayambhu Manu and Shatarupa, his wife, will come with their daughter and then they will give it to you because they have found you to be one of the most qualified bridegroom, and that is how it has been. They'll be coming to you. So please accept and then please take up. Although we know that you are a great devotee and you have taken the vow of celibacy, but because of my orders or my request that I want you to marry and also produce, or you also bring out, incarnate another personality who is going to do the preaching to the entire world. Of course, first he gave it to the mother himself to Devati, and through the agency of mother, it has already been given to the devotees at large. So that is how the whole setup was there, the background. And now actually that's it, the stage has set. And after that, once the marriage is done also, then we come across how how Mother Devahuti was in complete devotion unto her husband, and completely she was devoted to her husband, and she was completely serving him. After the parents left and they were together. So like this, it went on for a long time. And as Mahabharata, as Bhagavatam states, I think in the first and the second initial stages of the shloka, how they lived. Maitreya continued. After the departure of her parents, the chaste woman Devati, who could understand the desires of her husband, served him constantly with great love, as Bhavani, the wife of Lord Shiva, serves her husband. O Vidura, Devati served her husband with intimacy and great respect, with control of the senses, with love and with sweet words. So at the same time, it was also reciprocated by Kardamuni, and then he also, took care of her. Working sanely and diligently, she pleased her very powerful husband, giving up all lust, pride, envy, greed, sinful activities, and vanity. So like this, the excellent way of devotional life was going on. But then Devati had that desire; she wanted to have a progeny, a son, and she also requests him that this is what is my request. And based on that, the whole this entire thing was. This entire arrangement has been done by the Lord. So finally, Muni also understands that yes, this is what is required. And then before they come into union, they wanted to, because the Lord Himself is coming. So it is a very very transcendental event. So he wanted to give her that experience by his yogic power. He could create a huge, palaces and huge. It's almost like a city he produced at his will, and which is fully bedecked with a lot of jewels, with lot of gems, stones. So many buildings, castles, all these were there. Palaces were there, and all with so much of opulence. A lot of trees, birds, and the choicest of the creepers. So like this, everything was made gigantic. So all that, what we are trying to look at here is that how Kardamuni had that great yogic power, and how he could please his wife. As a grahastha life is always, there is always going to be some sense gratification, there is always going to be some enjoyment. But then he showed it in a very, very subtle way. And then he wanted to see that his wife was so emaciated because of serving him so diligently. She had actually completely not in the bodily platform. She had forgotten about her bodily comforts, and completely she was in very, very in a sordid affair. But then he understood the psychology or the mood of his wife, and then what is required as a grahastha, and then he took care. And then finally, he when they were in that Bindu Sarovar, the lake Bindu Sarovar, which is actually the banks of river Saraswati in Gujarat, somewhere in Gujarat. It is there from Ahmedabad. It's about 2-3 hours journey north. So we get this. Even today, many of the devotees, they go there, and then they give. That's a place where famous for the matru, for the pindadan, for the mothers they give there. And also it's a very, very pilgrimage center, also very auspicious place. And that is a place where they lived. And so here, under the instruction of his husband, of her husband, she took bath, and then she prepared herself ready, and she wanted to be looking one of the best as a bride, best way. And then the whole feminine form is always of filled of beauty, and kind of a so much of attraction is there. So and since they wanted to get into this household grahastha platform, so that was very much required. So that is how we come to this stage where how also husband pleases the wife, and then wife is pleased by the husband. So this reciprocation is very much important when it is going to be a good marital life. So here we come across the shloka number 24. The lotus-eyed devotee accepted the order of her husband because of her dirty dress and locks of matted hair, she did not look very attractive. So before that, he says, my dear Devati, you look very much afraid. First, bathe in the lake Bindusarovar created by Lord Vishnu himself, which can grant all the desires of a human being, and then mount this airplane. So like this, he gives her, he addresses her, and then he actually makes sure that she comes out of that mindset. And then now this is the time for their reunion, and this is something ordained by the Lord. So he makes sure that she's in that mood, and also her body and her mind and her dress, everything is taken care, and she gets one of the best of the best outfits. So like this, she's her morale is completely boosted, and in that mood, they prepare themselves. That is very, very nicely explained here. And she also takes a bath in the sacred waters of Saraswati, and then immediately Kardama Muni he could produce so many thousands of maids to take care of Devahuti, to take care of her dressing, her all the costumes arrangement, and everything, whatever she wanted to help in that perspective. She was given. The Kardama Muni produced so many of those maid servants, and then those maid servants bathed her, and then brought so many valuable oils, herbs, or herbal or ointments, or some nice massage. So all these things were given, and one of the best clothes were given to her. Jewels were there. So all these were given, and then also she was offered that asavam, which is also one of the inebriating drink. It is something which is going to give her a very healthy look all over her body, shine on her body. So like that, everything is coming into this. The arrangements are being made so that it becomes one of the most royally awaited wedding. And finally, in the last shloka, we understand that in the mirror she beheld her own reflection. Her body was completely free from all dirt, and she was adorned with a garland, dressed in unsullied robes, and decorated with auspicious marks of tilak. She was served very respectfully by the maids. So this way, wonderfully, Bhagavatam describes. And then ultimately, for a devotee, there are so many lessons also in this episode, that we also may be serving the Lord. We may be doing so much of austerities, especially when we come to Krishna consciousness. People, we start becoming the vairagya, or we take to a lot of austerities. I mean, one way it is very good. At the same time, we also have to take care of how we are going to look like, how we dress. All these things are required. That smartness should be there. You cannot live like a mendicant, or with some unclean clothes, or with unshaven or uncut hair. So like this, all these things are very, very important. And Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada gave a lot of importance on a devotee's good-looking, well-mannered. We understand that when he also started, when he went to the US, and he was very keen that because what he meant initially were all those devotees who were all hippies, drug addicts, drunkards. So like that, he was actually facing a very, very piquant situation. Probably how Kardama Muni saw Devahuti in that way. She was looking so dirty and so ugly. But Prabhupada took all that, tolerated all that, and then finally he made sure that they are well shaven, that they only keep shika. And Prabhupada always used to say that the hairs on the head means it attracts a lot of germs, it attracts a lot of you perspire a lot, so it's not clean. So that is the reason when he was also asked the question by so many of the interviewers and press reporters, why that you are forcing them to shave the head, why no mustache and no beard, or things like that. Prabhupada gave that very wonderful answer, that all of them, I want them to be clean. The cleanliness comes with very, if there are no hairs, then it is clean, and you also look very effulgent. The person looks so effulgent, and then he looks so bright and enthusiastic. Otherwise, with all the beard and with all disheveled hairs, nobody, they will all look good, and then it's not good when we go to the for a preaching, that if we are not in a good dressed and nice looking, well decorated. So probably people may not accept us. People may think that, oh my God, we have come here to enjoy, and these people, ISKCON devotees have come, and they want us to leave everything. They want us to not enjoy, or they want us to quit so many things. Some good things we want to do, some enjoyment. So like that, they should not come to that conclusion, and they may be fearful that the devotees might be telling too much about some austerities, that they may not come, they will not accept Krishna consciousness as it is. So this way, Prabhupada made sure that all the devotees look very clean and neat, wear nice clothes, and decorate themselves nicely. And basically the habit, the shuchi is important. The cleanliness of the body, the mind, and the soul is important. So that is what he had made it a trademark for all the ISKCON devotees, that devotees are well natured and well dressed. So that is how they could reach to many of the great celebrities. Even when Prabhupada was there, they could reach out to Beatles, they could reach out to Rockefeller, who was a rich man. And there's so many rich people and so many professors and so many intelligentsia. Prabhupada and his disciples were just youngsters. They could all meet them, and then comfortably they could handle, or they could interact with them without any kind of a inferiority complex. So they were all completely trained by Prabhupada onto how do the public relations, how to do public deliver public messages. So that way, Prabhupada made sure that this movement is something top class, very first class. And how, just by our behavior, by our dress, by our code of conduct, and of course, loaded with Krishna Bhakti. So like that, it's very important that this, and that is how we are so fortunate, and we are able to survive in this material world, where people are always interested in enjoyment, sense gratification. The moment we say that you are not supposed to not do this, they will actually get upset. Because when we come to ISKCON and Krishna conscious practices, whatever is our background, mostly our background is all as a animalistic nature. We are all enjoying thoroughly. We are using all the senses for all our enjoyment. But suddenly an ISKCON devotee comes, and then if he starts telling, oh, these things you should not do, you should not go to the movie, you should not drink this, you should not eat this. So everything is no only. So it's so difficult that for other person to accept it, because person who has already been so much engrossed in enjoyment, if you say no, he will say, get lost, I'm not interested. So that's why we have to very tactfully and very carefully do this preaching in a very, very subtle way, and then train them, bring them. So we should use, as Prabhupada also do, what he was doing was, he used to shower lot of love, lot of compassion on those devotees, on those youngsters. Some were homeless, some were orphans, some were they had left from home, but he give each one of them the equal love and care. So that is what is required, and only with that they could he could win their hearts, and they all became Prabhupada disciples. So that's bottom line. Like, for example, there was one advertisement in the 80s and 90s when I was in the college, and it was considered one of the topmost advertisement, and it had won some awards also. The agency was Trikaya Gray. Many of you would have heard. It was a very, very famous advertising agency, and they came with the advertisement for this one refrigerator. Those time refrigerator was getting introduced. There were so many brands, and this refrigerator is purchased by a family, and the household they start using it. And then when they start using it, the lady finds that the compressor is not making noise, and then the ice which is there, the ice compartment, it is not no, the ice is the ice is not I mean, it is overloaded with ice or becoming too frozen, and the ice is actually stuck to that plate. So like this, so many things, and then water is not dripping. So like this, so she feels that, oh, something is wrong in this fridge, and then she calls to the mechanic. She says that, see, we brought this fridge, and then I found that, it's not making noise, it's not dripping, it's not, ice is not, is not setting, is setting not properly. So like this, she makes a complaint. But then he comes and then says that, ye to आधुनिक technique का कमाल है. So that is the way. He says that all these things are now because of the new technology we have introduced, and these things you will not find. Earlier you were finding it was making noise, compressor were making noise, water was dripping, but these things are not now available. ये तो kelvinator का कमाल है, ये आधुनिक technique का कमाल है, like that. So that advertisement came. Actually, they were highlighting the positives of that fridge by talking about the negatives. So like the negatives were introduced to overcome that, and then highlighting the positives. So like that, and then she answered, oh, is it? Oh, I never knew that you had made this new technology. I thought a fridge means it has to drip, water has to drip, it has to make noise, it has to do a lot of sound. I should be frozen in this way, something like that I was thinking. But now I got a point. I got your point. Thank God, I made a good selection. So like that, she confesses. So like that, people are used to certain previous way of life, and they find that suppose you are not be able to do this, you cannot eat chocolate, you cannot drink tea, you cannot, come on, what is life? We cannot, without this, how I can live? So like that, people will get bewildered. But then what to do? That is all the what by consuming those things, all that what we are trying to say is they're all actually causing damage to your body, your mind and soul, because they're all not in the mode of goodness. They are in the either intoxicating, or they are making you to crave for make you hunger, or consume more and more. So like this, it is actually actually going to not benefit you. It is going to harm your body. So, and when it has to be when you have to do a spiritual practice, all this has to be avoided. So many so many avoidance, so many this has to be avoided, that has to be avoided. But actually, ultimately, what we have to see, the bottom line is that how it is going to benefit us. So obviously, when you have to come to a purified stage, when you have to shed all your the baggages. You have to shed all your bad things. Like how when a sculptor, when he wants to bring out a fantastic murti, a very nice vigraha on a marble, so he will use all the tools in his whatever in his disposal, like a hammer, a chisel, so many things he uses, and then he hits on that stone, and till the stone comes to a very fine shape, and the form is very nicely taken care. The smiling face is there, and the vigraha gets a very shining, nice outward look. Till the time he keeps on hitting the stone, and then he actually it appears that he's actually hurting the stone. He's damaging the stone, but actually, the more the stone gets hit, the more the chisel is there, and the more you use that the abrasive material, only then the shining will come. Only the sculpture, the final art of work will become so perfect. It looks so nice and glossy. So we have to undergo these kinds of what you say. It might look on the outward, it may look very unlikely, or pleasing, but still we have to go through this. So that way, because when it comes to a purified stage of consciousness or a purified stage of your body, you have to shed all these bad elements, something which is going to become a habit, which is a bad habit. These things has to be shed. So like this, we understand how in this case also, as Devavati was being so much absorbed in her service to her husband and the deities, that she actually completely had not taken care of her body. But actually, Lord ordained this was not required. This was the time that she had to come out of this. Now here also we understand that by removing the dirt means all the bad things, all the bad habits, or the bad desires in our heart, mind, everything. This has to go. And how that can go is only by doing the regular sadhana. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with that Sikshashtakam. The very first sloka he started with that sloka, Cheto Darpanam Arjanam, Bhavamaha Davagni Nirvapanam, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavado Jivanam, Anandambudi Vardhanam Prativadam Purnamrita Swadanam, Sarvatma Snapanam, Param Vijete, Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So already we are struggling in this material world, in the blazing fire of material life. We are struggling, and then if anyone has to, if the blazing fire has to go, the forest fire is raging. All that the forest fire needs is a thick clouds and solid rains. It has to shower. Only then the fire can be under control. So similarly, here the Guru is there. Unto that Guru we are praying. He is praying to his Guru, and then he's telling that that the Guru's presence will be there, and they can actually douse this fire. And what we need to do is that we have to do the chanting of the holy name. Cheto Darpana Marjanam is actually the wiping the dust out of the mirror of the heart, and only then we can see the face. Otherwise, the mirror is already with so much of dust, we cannot see our face properly. The face is actually completely, you cannot, it looks so dusty and so rusted. Whereas once you do this chanting process, and this chanting process also, it is also going to be like an ocean. It is having Anandambudi Vardhanam. So it is like a ocean. The happiness is like an ocean. So as we keep on tasting that ocean, the drop by drop of that ocean of the holy name, then the more happiness, Ananda, we'll get, and it keeps on growing and growing. Vidyavadu Jivanam. Yeah, so that is what that is what Param Vijete Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. So that the ultimate victory is for a human being is only when he takes up to Sankirtana movement, Hare Krishna Mantra, holy names, and only then he can get his, he can perfect his life. Otherwise, it is going to be very, very difficult in this material world. The Maya is so illusory world is so powerful that unless you surrender to him, Daiviyesha Gunamai, Mama Maya Duratya, Mam Evam Prapadyante, Mam Etam Prapadyante, Mayam Te Tarantite. So only if somebody, when somebody surrenders to that Supreme Lord and takes his shelter, only for them this Maya you can overcome. Otherwise, it's going to be very difficult. Hare Krishna. So we find that in the devotee's life, there are so many instances where devotees were in that kind of a situation. And actually, if you see many of Krishna's devotees, mostly they would be very, very not so rich people, or not so opulent. Very few devotees you will find who are so opulent, or who are so talented, or who are so beautiful, or so having all that good qualities, educated like that. Many times we find that devotees are mostly poor. They're not having the some basic needs also sometimes, but still they become devotees of the Lord. For example, in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, we had Sridhar Kolavecha. So Sridhar Kolavecha was actually coming from a not from a Brahminical caste. He was actually a Shudra. But then he had very great respect for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then he understood what is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's position. And what the Sridhar Kolavecha was doing was actually selling. He was making from the plantain leaf, the banana plantain leaf. He was making cups, and then he was selling it. That's all. And that too, if you go to Bengal, if you see the plantain leaf or the plantain, the trees are everywhere, because there is so much of water resources and so much of plantation is there. So it doesn't cost you much. You just go walk on the pathway. You will find so many plantain leaf. So all that you need to do is pluck it up, tear it, bring it, and then make a cup. Use some small sticks or small twigs or something like that, and then make a cup and then sell it. So it was hardly of any cost. It was maybe counted in that cow days, or you call the shells, conch shells. Those days, conch shell was also one of the currency. After the conch shells, they were using the paisa. So conch shells was something very, very of a very low value, but that was used as a medium of exchange. So he used to sell for about for 12 cow days, 12 conch shells, some 24 cups or something like that. But it was so cheap. But still, Chaitanya Prabhu used to go to him, and then he used to harass him. Actually, out of love, he used to harass him and then tell him, "Oh, Sridhar, I want this so many cups, but your price is very costly. I cannot pay you so much. You have to give me double this quantity. Otherwise, I'm going to snatch away all this from you. I'm going to spoil your shop." Actually, he's living in a very, very poor condition. His hut was torn out. Water was dripping, rainwater, and he was living in a very dilapidated condition. And he didn't have any money. But unto him, Mahaprabhu used to go and then try to cajole him. And then he was and then this Chaitanya Kulavacha, out of humility, he never used to, "No, Mahaprabhu, Are Chaitanya, no, Gaurahari, please. Don't talk to me like this. Don't tell me like this. Don't snatch my business. I'm hardly making any money both ends, and you are doing this tamasha." So like this, he used to plead with him, but still Mahaprabhu used to go to him, and then he used to make fun, and then he was having a nice time. But he knew, Mahaprabhu also knew what kind of a devotee he is. And then one day he actually went to his hut and then drank the water from his pot which was kept. So Sridhar Kolavicha was very, very upset. He didn't have anything, and only the water pot was there. And he was upset because Lord, how can the Lord take this water which is so impure, and I have actually not maintained much in my hut. It's already a broken jopdi, and then my clothes are so torn up, and I'm looking so ugly. But Lord is coming and then doing this kind of a magic. He's trying to drink from my cup, actually my drinking cup. So like that, he was feeling very painful. But then Lord was actually enjoying the nectarian pastimes for him. It was very pleasing to have an interaction with a heart, very pure heart, very ignorant person. He was so lovingly he was serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So like this, many devotees we get. And then we had Sudama Vipra, who had to face so much of difficulty during that time. Actually, when he was living in that near Ujjain, and he was actually, the Magadha king was there, Jarasandha was there, Shishupala was there. So these Shishupala, Jarasandha and all were actually so much they were harassing, and they had proclaimed that in the town, in that surrounding area, nobody should chant Krishna's name, Hari's name, Krishna's name. Nobody should eulogize him. Nobody should project his name. Nobody should glorify him. Like that, they had made a rule. And but unfortunately for Sudama, he was always in devotion, in love, in ecstasy with the holy names of Krishna. Although Krishna was living in Dwarka, but he always had that desire to serve him, and then to always to be in his company. But the fate had other ways, and then he had to stay here in this place, not from very far from away from Dwarka. So like that, he was continuing, and then he had one deity of Krishna, and these people, the king people, had Jarasandha and all these asuras, and they had come to attack in his jopdi, in his hut. Actually, he was also living in a hut, very poor condition, with so many children and his wife. So they came and attacked him, and they had taken away the deity from him, and then that deity was actually kept in with a pawnbroker. So like this, but Sudama was so upset because the only possession he had, only wealth he had, was the deity, and that deity was also confiscated, and he was so upset. And then so he used to beg and plead, and finally it so happened by the miracle, the deity that came on its own from that palace, and then it reached again the place of Sudama. So like this, and they were all dumbstruck. The king and all these ministers and all, they were dumbstruck, and then they thought that they should not harm him further. But then still things were going on, and since they had made a rule that chant holy name and do Sankirtan, but Sudama was always doing Hari Bhajan, Hari Sankirtan. So like that, they had put fire onto his hut. They had made his life miserable, but still he was relentless. He was always standing. And that is how, after surviving for so many years like this, unbridled, his devotion to Krishna, finally, Krishna also was feeling that, oh my God. In fact, Krishna and Rukmini knew what was the plight of his foremost devotee, most beloved devotee, Sudama, while they were sitting in Dwarka, but they could not take any action. So when Rukmini asks Krishna, Krishna, Mahaprabhu, why you are making your devotee suffer like this? Why can't you bring him? Yeah, for you, it's just a matter of few seconds, fraction of a second, you can actually convert him, you can make him rich, and you can fulfill all his desires. Why are you not doing like this? But then Krishna says, the real fact is, Rukmini, maybe you're not aware, I'm going to tell you now. And then he reveals, actually, Sudama had taken a vow that he is not going to ask anything from Krishna. When actually we remember that while they were in the childhood days, when they were in the Sandipini Muni Gurukul, at that time, the famous episode happens where they go to the forest to bring some twigs and firewood for his guru, and they get lost when the rains and everything comes pouring, and then they actually get lost and they get separated. At that time, the Guru Patni had given that the handful of handful of the poha or the chipped rice, and this chipped rice was to be shared between both Krishna and Sudama. But unfortunately, because of the acute hunger and that suffering that day when they were separated in the jungle, Sudama had taken off, had eaten that poha, the chipped rice, without offering to Krishna. So because Krishna was upset, so Krishna had told that, Sudama, I'm really, when they finally met and when they finally could meet and they were able to come home, so that time Krishna had told him that, Sudama, you did a great blunder. You didn't offer that to me. You ate everything to yourself. You're so selfish. So he started chastising him. And then and Krishna told him that, see, because you did this blunder, I'm going to give you a curse that I will not give you anything. I will not give anything unless you ask. Like that he tells, I'm not going to provide you good facilities unless you ask, like that. So when he says that, Sudama, being such a great devotee, humble devotee, he says that, my Lord, no problem if you don't give me, but I am the last person to ask anything from you. So this was the vow which Sudama had told and had taken, and then he, throughout his life, during his Grahastha life also, with all so many children, family, and all that, he had maintained that vow, that he never asked Krishna. So this was the binding factor. So when Rukmini asks Krishna, so Krishna says that actually my devotee, Sudama, is such a great devotee. He had given this vow. When I told him that I'm not going to give you anything unless you ask for it, you pray for it, I'm not going to give. Since I told that, I cannot give him. At the same time, Sudama had taken a vow, promise that he's not going to ask me anything. So if he's not asked me anything, how I can give him? So this is the dilemma. And even actually Krishna and was actually in very deep trouble when all these bad things were happening to Sudama. He was actually a mute witness. He could not do anything. And Krishna was crying in the palace that, my God, what a tragedy has befallen onto my best friend and devotee. Like that, Krishna was actually reciprocating. But he had his mouth shut because he could not ask and he could not help because of this vow which Sudama had taken. Unless Sudama comes and asks me, I'm not going to give him anything. So then finally, again, by the quirk of providence and the destiny, super will of the Lord, so his wife, she tells him that you please go to Krishna. Your friend is such an emperor. He's such a great personality. He is the supreme Lord himself. Why don't you go and ask him something, like that? Actually, she will not say directly ask him something. At least go and then meet him and then ask him how is his welfare, how is he looking. But at least looking at your condition, your pathetic condition, torn clothes and your body, your sullen body, you are so horrible, ugly look. At least by that, looking at him, he will understand and he will help you, like that. But that will be in the corner of our mind. But that aspect that desire was never there in Sudama. Only the wife Saraswati had the desire that he should go, she should go, or Sushila had the desire that he should go and then meet his Supreme Lord. So finally she sends, and if he has to send her, she had to again beg and plead, because she didn't have anything in the house. So she could just garner some, borrow from, beg and borrow from neighbors, and all that she got was the broken rice, chipped rice, and that too with contained so much of germs and very old, because when the people who are surrounding near them were also maybe poor, or they were not be inclined to give them some charity. So whatever the old stuff was there, they were used to giving to Sudama, because Sudama anyway, whatever they were given as a charity, he used to accept it. So like that, he was accepting it. But actually, that also was very, very bad condition, very inferior quality. That chip rice, avalakki, he took, and then my wife had given it, sent it to her. And then when he went to meet Krishna, and Krishna, the moment he saw him, he made sure that everything is taken care. And then he asked him what my Babi has given to me, what gift she has brought. Like that, he inquired, you should have brought something. I know that you have brought something. And actually, at that time, he was holding the armpit of his hand. And then when Krishna saw that he was holding a potli or a bag, he grabbed it and then he opened it. And then actually, Sudama did not want him to want it to be offered to him, because he knew what bad taste it had, or such a worn out thing it was. But then Krishna grabbed it, and then he actually didn't want him to taste it, but Krishna actually took few morsels of it, and handful, and then he actually felt that supreme happiness, because it was all brought out of love, affection, that Sudama has brought it, and his wife. So actually, I want to give something reciprocate. So like that, finally he was completely treated, and he was made to sit on the throne of Krishna. And Krishna did the Pad Puja and accepted offered the water, and then he accepted it. And then he gave a royal feast, and royal, so many dresses, so many jewels, everything he gave. But actually, Sudama didn't want it. But since Lord, as a guest, he was given. And then finally, when he had to go, Sudama actually handed over back all those jewels, all those nice clothes. He said, no, I cannot go like this, in this opulent way. It's not good on my part, and it's not my nature. That you might have the facility to give, you might be, but I cannot accept. I don't want to go. So like, he returned everything, and then he went back in his own, in his old clothes and his old way. So that showed his love and devotion. He was not carried away by his Lord's, he could not be purchased easily. Of course, Lord wanted to serve him in a nice way, but Sudama didn't even accept that. Because as long as I'm a guest in your palace, in your house, I will do whatever you say. Moment I go out of the palace, since the time has come, I have to go out, I'm just going to hand over everything to you. And then he returned it back, and then he came back empty-handed. But actually, Lord had made all the arrangements. When he had come back to his town, Ujjain, his hut, everything was gone, everything was converted, and it had become a big mansion, big palace. Everything was converted, and his wife and children were all wearing great, nice jewels, great silken clothes, nice dresses. He could not even identify. Sudama could not identify who these people were, what has happened, because he just remembered a few spots, landmarks, like a Goshala or a school or something like that. And then he tried to reach, and then finally he could see, and he could come, and he could meet his family members, and they were all completely mesmerized. And he also could not believe that such a miracle has happened, and all because of the opulence of the Lord. Lord had bestowed everything unto his devotee. Hare Krishna. So like this, these are all the greatness of the Lord. And as long as we are devotees, we're serving him, we don't have to worry much. He will take care of our needs. Hare Krishna. I think 10:30. Time is almost up, and today is actually one of the very auspicious day. It is Gadadhar Pandit's appearance day.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so
Hare
much.
Krishna. Yeah, I was actually in my elements. I went on with that so many pastimes. It was so wonderful. I hope I did not bore all of you. Then today is being the very most. I will just take another few minutes, and then I'll end the session. Very
Yes.
auspicious day. of Gadadhar Pandit appearance. And then, as we understand, Gadadhar Pandit was also was a contemporary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was living in the same place, and they were and as the children, Nimai and Gadadhar Pandit used to go to the same school, and they used to learn. And lot of pranks Mahaprabhu used to play, while Gadadhar Pandit was very, very soft and very naive, innocent. Whereas Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was always playing pranks like with Sridhar Kolavecha. So like this, it just went on like this. But then, as we understand, Gadadhar Pandit is actually the incarnation of Srimati Radharani. So he is the pleasure potency. He was a pleasure potency, and the Hladini Shakti was there. And then whenever the Lord pastime was there, Gadadhar also had to be there. So like that, we understand in the later part of the life when they were in Puri, so how Gadadhar Pandit was always together with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he used to read the shlokas of Bhagavatam, and Mahaprabhu used to go in ecstasy, get into the Radha Bhav. So like this, lot of pastimes were there. And then very important pastime with Gadadhar Pandit was that when he was when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had actually wanted to take sannyas, and he had actually become when he had taken sannyas and he was about to go. So there's a lot of separation they had to face. But then he had taken a kshetra sannyas, that he was not going to travel anywhere, he's not going to go anywhere, and then he was actually staying in Jagannath Puri. And then the very famous temple, Tota Gopinath temple is there, which is actually Krishna deity is there. And then the deity actually took a form which was a standing deity. It actually started kneeling down, because when Gadadhar Pandit became very old, he could not serve the deity. And these deities were actually was actually buried in this area of Jagannath Puri. If you have visited, there is one Yameshwar place, one locality, and it's full of it's a garden area, and in that mango garden area, and in that it was buried actually. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had excavated the deities, and then he had given it to Gadadhar Pandit, that you please take care of these deities. And from that day onward, Gadadhar Pandit had started worshipping Krishna deity. And it was, as I told, it was a standing deity. But then as Gadadhar Pandit was aging, and he was becoming old, frail, he could not do the service to the deity. And then due to his utter helplessness, Lord himself manifested, and then he became kneeling down. He started kneeling down, so that Gadadhar Pandit can, while he is kneeling down, he can actually reach out. He can reach out to his crown, his head, and he could decorate. He can use the flowers. He could offer. So like this, Lord manifested like this, and that is a great place, very, very blissful, sublime place. And the latest pastime, how Krishna reciprocated to his devotee, is actually also can be seen. And also that it is said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he completed his pastimes, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went into that deity. He just went inside the deity. He just got absorbed in that deity. That's what it is said. And some say that he also disappeared into the ocean. The Jagannath Puri, the ocean is there. In that ocean, Mahaprabhu, like, so whatever it is. So that way, the acharyas, the pujaris of this Tota Gopinath deity, they actually show that there is a crack at the knee.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. We cannot hear you. The voice is like that. Hare Krishna, Prabhu. We can't hear you.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Prabhu, now we can hear. Hello.
Yes,
Prabhu. Okay. So like this, it's a amazing pastime with Gadadhar Pandit. And then Gadadhar Pandit actually took the shelter of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. And as a contrast, as we are discussing in the class, that there are very few devotees who are rich or opulent. So here was one devotee of the Lord in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Gaudilila pastimes, that Pundarik Vidyanidhi, who was staying in this Chattagram. And then he was very opulent, he was very rich. He's actually considered in the Krishna Lila as the Vrishabhanu, Radharani's dad. So like that, he was very rich, but then he was a great devotee. And then one of his Gadadhar Pandit's contemporary, Mukunda Datta, had told that this Pundarik Vidyanidhi has come to the town. Let us go and meet him and let us hear Harikatha from him. Like that, he took him there. And when Gadadhar Pandit, when he went there with Mukunda Datta, he saw that this Pundarik Vidyanidhi was looking so, he was actually not looking like a devotee. He was looking like a kingly person, a princely man, like a king, wearing a lot of silken material and costumes, and then with a lot of jewels. And he was with a hookah on his side. So like this, he was and taking betel nuts. Actually, these are all actually not for a devotee. Devotee cannot consume all this, but he was in such a elevated platform that Gadadhar Pandit mistook him, and then he thought that, oh, why we have come here? Let us go, like that he had told. But then when Mukunda Datta started reciting the Bhagavatam prayers, and he could see the Sattvika Bhiva, Ashta Sattvika Bhiva of the behavior, the ecstatic symptoms in Pundarik Vidyanidhi when he went in ecstasy into hearing this Bhagavatam shlokas, and then when he was glorifying Krishna, and then he actually fainted. And then finally, Gadadhar Pandit understood what is the mood of a devotee and who is that, how great he is. And then he finally come to the conclusion that only way of begging forgiveness is to take diksha from him, initiation from him. And then he had taken diksha, he took diksha from Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So like this, very great pastimes we had. And ultimately, Gadadhar Pandit was always, he never wanted to leave Mahaprabhu. And he fulfilled whatever the needs required, and then he was completely, like how Radharani was taking care of Krishna, Gadadhar Pandit was always taking care of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu while they were there, and then see that his glories are going far and wide. So that way, it was a very very nice relationship between this devotee and to that Gadadhar Pandit, who is epitome of Srimati Radharani, Haladini Shakti. That let us pray that we also get a drop of his Krishna Prema, Krishna Bhakti, and in that Madhurya Bhava, because ultimately we all as a devotee in this Madhurya Rasa, we all as Rupanugas, we only have to aim for Madhurya Rasa. So this Madhurya Rasa is something which is considered one of the topmost mellows in devotional service, and this devotional service we should be able to execute our bhakti, Krishna Bhakti in the topmost rasa, the Gopi Bhav. So that we can only beg from the person who is possessing it. And who is that? None other than is Gadadhar Pandit. Hare Krishna. So with this, I will end today's session. If anyone has any doubts, clarifications, any realization, so open, please. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, so much for your association. And it was a nice session. Hari Bol. Suma Mataji wants to ask a question, Prabhu. Can we take a question?
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Suma Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Prabhuji, pranams, Prabhuji. It was a wonderful class, Prabhuji. Wherein you narrated all the stories of Gadadhar Pandit also, and the Sudama and Sri Krishna Leela. It was wonderful, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, when we have to set an example as a Krishna devotee to other people, the people around us, how can we do that, Prabhuji? Like not going for movies, when our own kids ask for to go out and do shopping in the malls, and wherein completely we can understand the effects of Maya. So we have to go with them, and to be in complete in the Maya, immersed in the Maya, and come out of that. We don't have so much of strength, Prabhuji. We are not so perfect devotees also. So how does one know, like, what is the limit? So this extent I can go. It is like almost like leaving a child on the seashore, Prabhuji. Like we know how obviously they will be dragged done inside the ocean also. So it is very difficult, Prabhuji. But we have to go also for our kids. Or else they will never come to Krishna consciousness only, thinking that, they are refraining from watching movies, they are not going to any malls, or they are not taking any food outside. So that will really make them, these people are sannyasis. So they will think that. So how can we do that, Prabhuji? And another doubt also I have, Prabhuji, like devotees of Krishna consciousness people and Brahma Gaudiya Parampara should opt for Madhurya Rasa. How does one loving Krishna in a parental form can do that, Prabhuji. Parental affection can aspire for something Madhurya Rasa or something like that, Prabhuji. Conjugal love or something like that. How can one do that?
Understand.
Thank you so much,
Actually,
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
you're asking all very top class questions. You're addressing to the wrong person.
Hare Krishna. No, Prabhuji. Hare
I
Krishna.
actually don't know the real answer for all this. It's very elevated questions, elevated topics. But anyway,
I'm
to the
sorry,
extent
Prabhuji.
I
Hare Krishna.
no,
These
no,
things.
to the extent I know of or what I've heard from my gurus and Siksha gurus, I will try to explain it. Why I'm telling the wrong person, the first question especially, is because when I came into Krishna consciousness with family, I was already, I think, around 36, 37, like that. Okay, so my children had already grown up. My daughter was almost 9, 10 years, and then my son about 4, 5 years. So like this, it is not that we came very early to KC. Had I come just we had married and we had we had entered Grasta life and then we had come, then it would have been so difficult. So that way I didn't face those problems. While children had already grown up, they knew they immediately they accepted Krishna consciousness. They started attending temples, programs, and all that. So and by the time when we are 40s, we never used to go to movies because I mean, of course, we lived in Middle East and it was a totally different environment. Well, if you are in India, probably it would have been a very different story. But then in Middle East, we didn't have much of distractions. We could concentrate very focus so much on the temple activities. We didn't have any other way out also, like either temple, home, office. That's all. So we are so that way lucky that we had that opportunity. But if you are in India, I'm sure that it is very tough beginning for devotees because you have so much of relatives, so much of friends, that so much of distractions are there that you are bound to go to these places and they will invite you parties. These so many things are there. So like this, we never faced that kind of a difficulty, and I don't have really experience. And I actually, when we're 35, 40, it's almost like you're in a like a lot of vairagya, or a lot of your what you say, you're become very little religious and things like that, and you have relinquished many of those attractions, going to the movies and all that. And already we had already left that, so we never used to go. While in my college days and my youth days, I was a great fan of movies. We only had that entertainment, and we only used to spend a lot of time there. But when really came to the spiritual, religious, family life, it was totally opposite way. So that way. And coming back to your point or your question, how do we manage? So it is, I think, initial days it will be very difficult, especially with children growing, and they know that they have to enjoy. You cannot, if you say that you cannot eat outside, you cannot eat chocolate, you cannot eat cakes. Come on, how they'll feel mad actually. Well, it's very difficult to convince them and not taking to the movies and all that. So the best part is that we just have to balance a little in that way also. At the same time, as far as movies are concerned, it should be something very a family kind of an entertainer or something like that. But of course, you will find it very difficult, very hard. And if you have to take them also, make sure that they don't eat. Sometimes I mean, you get wherever you go, it is always onion, garlic is there. So it's a very tough, difficult situation actually. Unless the children also understand the seriousness of KC and all these regulatory principles, if they're able to understand, then it is fine. But luckily, in my case, as I told you, children they took it in a very positive way, and they never touched all these all the chocolates, outside stuff. So that way we are lucky. And initial days, 3-4 years, when we used to go out, we used to go out and we used to go to a restaurant, and all that used to be there. But when we became serious after 2-3 years, they also understood and they also followed. And we also, when we started avoiding these restaurants, so because everything was available in the temple, devotees. So the satsang with the devotees actually transformed us and transformed the children also. So that is very important. How much you give them the satsang, how much association of the devotees you give, and temple, if temple itself is making a lot of if you have a restaurant in the temple, a sattvic restaurant, and if they're able to give what is available in the outside, if the temple is able to give that, and then feed the children, then I think they'll be all right. And anyway, violence and all, children will not like it. So movies and all may not be there. But still, we don't know. Still, children might still want to see that. You might give some freedom, to little freedom, so that even if they go with their friends or something, but you have to warn them and tell them that, please come back. No, don't make it a habit. No, this is not a good way of life. It's not going to help you in any way. It's going to damage you. It's going to affect you. Please come back to KC and accept KC practices. Like that, we have to guide them. And up to the age of 15, you have to guide them. And, we have to be very strict. But once they reach 15, 16, when they're in the outer teenage, then we have to treat them like friends. We cannot be holding a stick. Before that, from the age 6 to 14, we can hold a stick and we can do a lot of, curbing control, as long as we give them the alternatives. Otherwise, we have to be very careful, because once we hurt their mind and once we hurt their sentiment, then and if they feel affected by that, then they're not going to come back to KC. It's a very, very, very tricky situation. We have to handle it in a very, very diplomatic way. Okay, sometimes they might go the other way around, or they go out of the way. It's okay. Once in a while, you can always allow them, but make sure that they come back. So that is a very, very, it all depends on how you build your family, how you congregate together, how you take care of children, how you love them. Even if they do a mistake, if they do a blunder, you should not make it such a big issue that they will have to regret in their life. You should make it in such a way, convince them that what you did is wrong. Just give them very solid piece of advice, that try to make them understand that what you did is wrong, what you did is not correct. You should have done like this, and then and then try to give them and compassionate, and then try to convince them. Then they will probably accept. But if you are going to take only stick, and no carrots, I mean, it's going to be a very, very difficult path for them. They will not come back. And when they grow up and then when they become teenagers, they'll be always opposite, and they'll be rebellious. It's a whole science, actually. Devotees has to play a lot of big role, and they have to learn so much of psychology in this. Luckily for me, I didn't have to spend much on this subject, because children naturally took to KC, and so it was like this. But again, for devotees, what is more highlighting is, what I'm highlighting is that the association should be given of the devotees, and with good, what is available, like pizza is available, cake is available, pastry is available, something is available. Try the same thing, give it to them at their free will, in the devotees' in their homes, or in the devotees, or in the temple, like that. So you have to make sure that this is there. And if we cannot get elsewhere, let us do it at home. Let us give them all the foodstuffs at home. Let us give all the arrangements at the home. So like this, it is one way. Even if you want to watch a movie, a thriller, do it at home. So sit together and then watch it. I mean, you will not be so interested to look at it, but then for their satisfaction, you be part of it. And then they will only say, oh, this is too much violence, I don't want to see this, switch it off. Something like that they will say. Then that way they will learn. But you have to act as if, you are trying to give them everything. At the same time, take it away from them. Hare Krishna. I don't know whether I've answered this. This is
yes,
my
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. We have to act and pretend. Prabhuji.
Act as if you are giving them everything, but then come to a conclusion. They will only come to a conclusion. No, I don't want this. Wow, what is this? This is not. Let us switch it off. It should become like
But the
that.
saddest thing is that they are not able to get any association, Prabhuji. Like in Bombay,
This
there is
very,
a
very,
Gauranga
like I told you,
Darshan Prabhu.
when we are abroad, we get all these association. Of course, temple should be there and all that. So luckily, we had that opportunity. But in India, I think it's going to be very, 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 very tough. I can understand that. So, but still, we have to do the walk. We have to walk the talk. Hare Krishna. And the second question was about, yes, Mataji. Second was about the Madhurya Rasa. Of course, it is. We are all in the Dasya Rasa. I mean, that's why on the Shanta Rasa, we are at least in the Dasya Rasa. And Sakya and Vatsalya itself is so difficult. We are not in that mood. We are not, taking care of Krishna in that Vatsalya Bhav or in the Sakya Bhav, because it's a very, very exalted, elevated mood. And what to talk of Madhurya Rasa, becoming a lover of Krishna, and in that, it's just nearly impossible. Nearly impossible. We cannot even think of it. But what Prabhupada also had mentioned, and what our acharyas have also mentioned, that we just have to do this. That's all. We just have to do it. We just have to completely surrender unto that notion that we have to go to the Madhurya Rasa. We just have to do the practice in such a way. Although we are in a Dasya, Our mood should be that we are serving in the gopi bhav. Just like gopis are taking care. So that's why we have to, we have to hear this Gopi Kitam, we have to hear the Bhagavatam, we have to hear from the top class elevated devotees, and then understand the mood, because conjugal love is not something very, very common. It's very, very esoteric subject. But we have to aspire for it. At the end of the day, as Rupanugas, we all have to come to that platform of Madhurya Rasa. Only then we can, reach that service mode. So that's it. So ultimately, what I have heard from other senior devotees is that we don't have to worry in what way, whether we'll reach that position or what. All that we just need to do is just dasanu, 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 dasa. Become, just serve Krishna, serve Radharani, serve the deity, the devotees, all the, all their associates in such a way that you're rendering very nishkama seva, or without expecting any material ulterior motives, just do it the seva. This is what I've heard, and do it because now we're in the Dasi Baba. Then the parampara will take care, the Guru parampara will take care, and then they will take us to that platform. Now at this stage, we just have to be servant. And even to become a servant of a servant of servant, it's so difficult. We are struggling actually. It's so impossible. If somebody tells that you do this job, that job, we are the last person to do that take up. But then by force only we are doing it. So that way, it is all very, very. It's a long journey. But I think we have to take it in the strides. At the corner of the mind, at the time whenever we are doing the service, we have to keep that in mind, that our mood should be like a gopi. Our service should be like a gopi. Our service, our attitude, all that should be like a gopi bhav. I mean, that should be at the corner of the mind. We cannot imitate that, but do it with a lot of faith and a lot of eagerness. The utsaha, nishchaya, dhairya. So these 2-3 things are very important. And if you're doing it and then trying to just please your superiors and Guru Maharaj, I think probably our job is taken care. And Prabhupada also has mentioned that as Rupanugas, we have to serve the deities in such a way. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Pranams to you. It was very nice, Prabhuji. Helpful, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for associating with us and spending so much time, Prabhuji. Should I end the session, Prabhuji, with the prayers?
Yes, I think anybody else has got anything? No. Any other queries or comments? Some realizations?
There's no raised hands also, and we are running out of time also, Prabhuji.
Okay, yeah.
We have to end it.
Oh, almost. Hare Vela, Vancha Kalpataru Kripa Sindhu Bhyacha Patitanam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Anandakoti
All glories to you, Prabhuji. All glories to you.